Hello and welcome to the People Podcast. This podcast we had Jessie and her dog Teddy with us. Jessie's just moved up from London, where she used to organise big, fancy launch parties for some pretty high profile bars.
Yeah, Jessie initially moved to London. She's initially from the valleys in Wales. She moved down to London to study at LCF, the London College of Fashion, which I'm led to believe is a pretty big deal. She started off working in bars to kind of support that, and then found herself to be progressing pretty quickly, and then ended up, as Brett mentioned, launched some pretty high scale events. But then met the love of her life in a guy called Craig in one of the bars.
Who got a job offer at his childhood football club, Sunderland Athletic Football Club. So they moved up here to follow that dream.
Yeah, and part of that deal, Jessie's behalf, was that she could get a dog if she moved up here. So if you do hear some scampering out in the background, that is Teddy. He's got a little bit restless during the podcast, but
he was running around all over the place. A little fun fact about Jessie: she's from the village next door to Jake, one of our first guests, or our first guest on the show. So we go through that journey from Wales all the way through to Newcastle and touch on how she got a boob job in between.
Enjoy.
Welcome to the People Podcast.
So we've got a little guest today, or we've got two guests. We've got Jessie, who's just moved up from London to Newcastle, but originally from Wales, and we've got Teddy. What type of dog is he?
He's a cockapoo.
Cockapoo. He's the cutest little guy ever.
He's literally the most beautiful dog that has ever existed. Hi.
He's very well behaved, very relaxed too.
I know we say this, but he'll have like a burst of half an hour randomly in the night. Like he'll just wake up from a nap or just suddenly decide to just go.
What, just wake up in the middle of the night and just start running around your house?
Not like right in the middle of the night, but like it could be like 11 o'clock and he's like, it's my time to shine now. Everybody watch how fast I can run around the house, and we'll bring you like socks and bras and pants and like blankets. Just anything that he can find loose that he thinks has got mine or Craig's smell on it. Then he's like, I'll hide that, and you'll find it in a month.
So how have you found the move from London to Newcastle?
It was so different.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like, it happened really quickly because Craig got offered the job at Sunderland Football Club. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm never gonna.
He's a physio.
Yeah, he's a physio. So he works with the academy and he does a couple of stuff with the first team as well, which is like working in football physio was his dream job. So I was never.
Your pool is close to you.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I would like never ever be like, no, we're not going.
Yeah, big opportunity for him.
Oh my god,
like a Premiership football club, it's massive.
Well, they've just been. I don't know.
Oh no, they're not Premiership. Yeah, they're the champion.
Well, they got
League One.
I think they either got put down just before he started. Yeah, it was like just before he started, they got dropped down. So I was like, oh shit, like have you still got a job? But no, it was like his dream job. So like I would always have moved up here.
Yeah.
And we would never have been able to like buy a house and start a family in London because I don't have £3 million to buy a 1-bed flat in Streatham.
Yeah.
Which is horrific. But no, it's different. Like living in a city like London where everything is like so diverse and everyone's so open-minded and like people kind of mind their own business, and you move here and people have these opinions that they think that can just be openly discussed in rooms, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's terrifying. Like
openly discussed opinions. What?
I mean, like openly being like racist and homophobic,
right? Okay.
In like a public place. And it's like in Wales, it's not so much homophobia, but racism is like it's you almost feel yourself defending it because you're like, right, these people have grown up in this working class background with just white people around, and they're just being fed all of this bollocks through like social media, being like, oh my god, like all of these people are coming over here and taking our jobs, and you're like, oh, for God's sake. And it's like it's almost that like narrow-minded kind of like they can't help but saying these things because they think it's normal and their parents have said that. And I find it so hard to be like, you can't say that, like, because you have to almost educate someone every time you go out somewhere. And I'm like,
That is just like, not that Newcastle's a small town, but it's a small town syndrome
Oh,
type
God.
thing. So similar sort of thing. I came from a very, very small town in the middle of South Africa, and obviously South Africa has quite a lot of racism, more so in the rural, smaller town areas than the kind of the big cities. And it's the same sort of thing now when I go back, and just the mindset of people on certain topics, not across the board. It's just certain things where you like, wow, that's very different to the way the rest of the world looks at things.
It's like, it just freaks me out. Like, who's the guy who's he was the leader of the EDL, Tommy something.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, he got like arrested, and I was like overhearing a conversation in a pub, and people were like, oh, he shouldn't have been arrested for the things that he's done. I'm like, well, maybe he shouldn't have been arrested for that, but he's been like a bit of a dick like this entire time. I feel like he deserves to go to prison, and it's just like little things that I'm like, oh, it just worries me. So like when we have kids, like what if they come home and like I hear them saying things, and like sexism as well up here, I feel like is insane.
You think there's a lot more sexism up here?
Oh my god, yeah. It's the same as it is in Wales. It's like a man is a man and a man does a man's job, and like, are you going to cook him dinner? Are you going to do... I'm like, oh my god.
So how big was the town you grew up in Wales?
Tiny, like it wasn't even a mile. It was a village, like it was so small.
You're from like the village over from Jake. Jake was on this podcast first.
We live in the same valley. It's like,
oh no way.
Yeah, so we live in the same valley. Like he's a couple of towns up. He probably lives like about half an hour away from me.
Okay.
But
and you just met him randomly in Newcastle?
No, we were. It was my first ever night out in Silverbean, and we just went to the Tyne Bar.
Okay.
And I was having like a full normal conversation with someone from the office, and they just dragged me away and was like, this person is Welsh. And then we started teaching people to swear in Welsh, and we were like, oh, okay, this is fun. Yeah. And realised we used to go to the same clubs when we were really underage. So we have this club called Blisters in this place called...
Yeah, talked about it.
Blisters is but you have to be like a level of drunk to go to Blisters. So that's why when we were leaving to go to the wedding last weekend, I was like, I'm gonna get Blisters drunk tonight. Like, I'm ready. And he was like, oh, gross. like don't get blistered. But it's one of those places. Well, it is the place that like you go in, and if you'll see the bouncers like taking drugs off people on the door, and then they just pour it on their hand, and then they'll look at it and they're like, 45 quid. And you see the bouncers are like absolutely gurning when you're walking in.
Wow.
And it's like they open at like 10 o'clock. The smoking area doesn't open until 2. So you have to smoke in the toilets until then. Right. And the bouncers are just walking around, like just in the toilets while you're smoking. And you're just like, okay.
Most people there, local
hoodlums. Yeah. No, it's rough. Like people are either really underage or like 40. Yeah. It's that kind of place, like when you were like 17 going out there, you're like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like I'm at this club. And then you look back and you're like, oh, like so disgusting. Like the most vile place, because you have 50p a bottle night there. I don't know if they still do it. I haven't been there since I was 17.
50p a bottle.
So like beer bottles and like WKD and things like that.
Pops and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, but beer as well. Like I thought that was kind of weird, because you have a table like the size of this, and you just all go to the bar and fill the entire table with bottles.
Spend a tenner and get 20 beers.
Horrible. Like it makes me feel ill even thinking about going there.
Well, when I was a student, I used to do it in Liquid in Newcastle, which is like, that doesn't exist anymore, but on a Thursday it used to be 50 pence a bottle, a pound of beer or something like that. Loads of beers, grab them at once and sit there, and then not be able to move, not be able to dance because you're just that full. Oh,
it's so just like flashbacks, like sticky floors.
How old were you when you left Wales?
I was 18 when I left Wales.
Okay. To go to London. So you went straight to London? Went straight to London when I was 18.
Wow. Like, how scary is that? When I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, that is so grown up.
Were you very bold? Were you outgoing?
Yeah, I think like I was so scared. Like when I first got dropped off, I remember my parents dropped me off at my halls, and I was like, I can't just sit here. So I went to Oxford Street, but I got off the tube, like when you get off the tube at Oxford Circus, and it's just like one main street. But that was the first time I'd ever been there, and I was like, oh my God. And you can see H&M and like Topshop from in front, and I just went to those two shops and was so scared that I was going to get lost in London that I just went straight home.
So you went there for uni?
Yeah, I went to uni there. Right, okay. I went to London College of Fashion. Nice. So I did fashion design and marketing there.
Oh right, I had no
biggest waste of time.
Oh, really?
Anyway, yeah, you literally, it's like one of those universities that you go to just have the degree on paper, and I learned nothing.
Very similar to mine. Very similar to mine, yeah. But we had a good time. Good 3-4 years?
3 years. Like it was good. Like I enjoyed living in London more than I enjoyed uni. But it's more, like you just feel like a bit of a wanker, like going for like internship interviews afterwards, because you could see they weren't really feeling it. And then you're like, oh, I went to London College of Fashion. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they'll just give you a job.
Oh, really?
Say like, oh, was Tim your lecturer, or was this person your lecturer? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, come on then.
Nice, okay. So it's quite a prestigious university. You've got good contacts within the fashion industry.
LCF is, Central St.
I
Martin's.
don't know anything about it.
No. So it's all part of UAL, which is like University of the Arts London. And then you have LCF in that. And St. Martin, there's like 5 or 6 different campuses. And one of those is Central St. Martin's, which is like the most prestigious like fashion university in Europe, maybe more than that. I didn't go to that one. I'm not fancy enough, but I went to one of the other LCFs.
But still affiliated with quite a big deal.
Like the fact that I went,
nice.
I just went straight from sixth form as well, and like everyone else.
What made you want to study fashion?
Honestly, I have no idea. Like, do you ever think like? I remember being in year 12 and then thinking like, I've got to apply for UCAS. And I was like, what the hell do I want to do for the rest of my life? It's so unfair that you have to do that then. Because I was like, do you know what? I make clothes in my house and I tie-dye stuff. So that obviously means I should get a degree in fashion.
At 18, you have no clue what the world's like. So you have no clue what you want to do. You don't know what's out there.
And I had my art teacher in school just being like, oh, well, maybe you won't get in. Like, don't think that you will. Like not in like a mean way. She was kind of just trying to like...
keep you modest, yeah.
Yeah, because I got into Newport as well. And I think in hindsight, I probably should have gone to Newport because I would have learned more.
Right, but
then I would never have done all of this other stuff.
Anything, is it? It's more about the good times and the contacts and growing up.
Yeah, that is true. It was I'm fully glad I went to London. I feel like...
Man, I can only imagine what being a student in London for 3 years must have been like.
It was we always lived in like dead rough areas, so it was like spicy. We lived in Camberwell when I first moved there, and it's like smack bang between Brixton and Peckham. Mm-hmm. It's just dangerous. Like I keep saying we as if like I'm more than one person, because I've never lived on my own in London, so I'm like we.
Yeah,
but you go there, when do you start uni? In like September or August or something. And then when we went back at Christmas, I keep saying I'm like really annoying myself now. Go back at Christmas and there was like all blood on our pavement. Someone had been shot outside our halls, and then they took the lock off the gate. And I was like, surely at any time that security needs to be like notched up a level,
when there's been a murder,
it would be because there's lots of blood on the pavement and people get shot here. But there was no lock on the gate for ages.
Wow.
And my friend Martin, who we lived in halls together, the next halls, the week that we moved out of that place in Tooting, there was a triple murder on our street.
What?
Like there was a police there was like murder tents and like helicopters and everything.
Just like a random murder, it wasn't like a terrorist attack, it wasn't like a big deal.
No, it's just the rough end of Tooting. Literally just the rough end of Tooting.
Wow.
It was like I worried. I thought he was having a wee then, but he's having a drink.
So from a girl from the valleys to move to London and see all that stuff straight away, it must have been a bit of an eye-opening experience. Must have been a big 3 years. You must have seen a lot.
Oh my god, yeah. No, it was...
It changed a lot.
Yeah, do you know what? I feel I changed so much because it's just the people that you meet, and you meet all of these people with these like completely... It's not even like... You meet all these people with these like outlooks on life that you would have never, like that I would have never like experienced before. And I don't know, like it was amazing. And like I'm glad that I worked in a bar for ages as well. Like when I was in uni, I was working like 40 hours a week in a bar. That's where I met Craig, because he stalked me for 2 years. You keep looking at him like he's gonna like wee on your floor, and I'm like I'm really scared.
He's welcome to wee on my floor.
Please don't wee on the floor. That's where I met Craig, because he was like one of my customers for 2 years, and I didn't know.
He was a customer.
He was one of my customers. Sounds like I'm like a prostitute.
Came into the bar and was like, "Hey, you."
Well, he didn't speak to me because he'd always queue. Like my section was always the busiest section, because I wouldn't work with anyone else because it was like a smaller part of the bar, and he'd say, "Oh, I'd always queue up longer so I could get served by you." I'm like, that's so sweet. And then on my last ever shift, he asked for my number.
Did you know it was your last shift?
No.
So it was just like complete coincidence.
It was just complete coincidence. He did the whole like, "Can I get 5 Jaeger bombs and your number?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, you can."
Well played, sir.
But he nearly got. I swear to God, like he could have I thought he was going to get like fully smacked from my boss and our head doorman, because they were super protective. There wasn't many girls who were. It was all boys, bar for like me and one other girl.
Was this in a rough area of London as well, or was this?
Yeah, so it's in Tooting. Yeah. But I was going off the bar to like clean down at the end of the night, and my boss, who was like this big angry Welshman, and then the doorman, who is also like a big angry guy, not angry, they just look angry.
Yeah,
and they could see Craig like charging drunkly towards me, and they're like ready. It's like, no, please, not this one. Like he's nice.
Signal that everything's
I was just like, no. And they were still like trying to charge. I'm like, no, it's fine, it's gonna be okay.
So you say you obviously met loads of people from different walks of life in London over the 3 years. If you could describe how you changed, or what specifically would be different from Jessie at 18 to Jessie at, you were 18 to 22. How would you describe that change?
I think I just started listening to people a lot more, and not just like charging in with my own opinion. And like if someone had an opinion I didn't agree with, I'm like, right, well, I want to know why somebody thinks like that. And I feel like I was just constantly being educated by people there, and like going out on the gay scene was like such like an eye opener. Living there, and there's one friend who worked at Stonewall, and you like hear like people like that you're like, oh my god, like I feel like you're gonna influence me forever now just because I've had conversations with you and I understand. Well, I'll never understand, but like you start to get a grasp of like how.
It opens your eyes a little.
I'm sorry, I keep looking at him because I'm like, Ted, where are you going?
There's really nothing you can, no damage you can inflict anyway.
No, he won't chew anything.
Yeah, well, and just seeing people from different walks of life, maybe they've been born into a different background, or they've travelled over to a different place, or their parents have done something crazy or different, and they've got just a completely different view of life.
Yeah.
You chat to them, you learn from them, and then all of a sudden you've kind of changed a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's like.
So did you notice then, even when you went back to Wales, when you were 21, did you notice that you changed and that you didn't belong, or not belong, but you changed in the place that you'd come from? Hadn't quite.
100%. Like when I go back now, like everyone takes the piss out of me. They're like, oh, you don't sound Welsh anymore. Like you're so PC, and I'm like, I'm not PC. Like that's not what it is, and it's horrible. Like I've spoken to other people about this as well, and like you kind of feel like you've drifted apart from people who were like your best friend for like 10 years, and then you sit down, you try and have a conversation with someone, you're like I feel like an asshole because I just don't want to speak to you anymore. And like that, like it feels horrible because you're really trying to like grasp a conversation with them. You're like, we've got nothing in common anymore. And like I feel really guilty about that when I go back, because someone's like, I'm talking to these people who I was best friends with in sixth form, and they're trying to talk to me like I'm still 17. I'm like, I'm not 17 anymore.
Whenever I go back home, it's like one of those things where it just feels like it hasn't changed at all. Everything's exactly the same as what it used to be. 100%.
It's like you feel like, where's your drive? Like, come on, like do something.
You're going to the same bar you went to 10 years ago.
Yes.
It's just insane. And you drive through and it feels like, honestly, there's no new buildings and it's very, very peculiar.
It just makes me feel quite sad.
Yeah.
It's like I love going back, and like, I don't know, I just feel like I don't make as much effort to like do things with my friends when I'm back. I think it's just because like I'm a bit scared that people who I haven't seen for a while, like, am I going to feel like that with them? I feel like I distance myself quite a lot from people now when I'm at home.
Yeah.
Why are you crying, babe?
And then coming up to Newcastle, do you feel like you're reverting back to that world, or firstly, do you ever go back to London and see your friends from London?
Well, I go back to London like every now and again for work, but I think probably like twice I've gone back. I've had drinks with friends, and it's so nice, and it's like in the bars that I launched, so it's like it's my like safe space, and like that. I'm just gonna pick him up so he stops crying.
Fine, no problem. Oh gosh, hey Teddy.
There we go. I'm like, that's my safe space. I'm like, this is where like I felt like so different before. Like I felt so important, like being in these bars and like all the people that I'd meet there.
How long did you stay in London for after you graduated?
Oh god, 3 years.
Okay, so quite a while still again.
Yeah, so I went straight into a sales manager role for a group of bars.
What exactly did you do for them?
So just like events and
launch the events.
Yeah, like launch events and like ensuring that they're making enough money and booking. I'm gonna put them back down. But yeah, just ensure like if they're not making money, it's my fault basically.
Yeah.
And just ensuring that they.
It's quite a hectic job. Straight out of uni.
Yeah, it was intense. They put me into like their smallest venue, and then I just did quite well there, and they promoted me to their largest venue, and then I ended up taking over another one that was failing, and then heard rumours of the company being sold. So I was like, I'm gonna leave right now. And I got offered a job with a group called Adventure Bar. And they never really told me what the job properly was when I started. They were like, we're gonna launch a bar. They didn't say I was gonna launch a bar. They were like, we're gonna launch a bar. We can't tell you about the bar. We can't tell you about the concept. We can't tell you anything. But they were like, just trust us, it's you. And I was like, fuck it, okay. Like, let's just do it because I'm gonna have to leave this job soon anyway. Okay. And then I had to launch.
You know those people who were launching it?
No, I'd literally like friends.
How did they know that it was you? Oh, it was mutual friends.
Literally, yeah, from mutual friends and just from like a couple of like meetings and chats that we'd had. They were like, we can tell that it's a bit of you,
right? Lovely.
And it was this like bright pink, like really like aggressive woman bar, and it was amazing. But yeah, I just had to like fully launch this bar and was like, shit, like I've never done anything this big before. Just like launch a cocktail bar. And then probably like 4 months later, we were on the roof of this like massive office block in Waterloo having a meeting. I'm like, why am I sitting on a roof in 27-degree heat? Like, this is ridiculous. And my director was like, you're launching a bar here in 6 months. And I was like, no, it wasn't even 6 months. It was like I think it must have been like 4 months. He's like, you're launching a bar here. I'm like, excuse me?
Wow.
Like, he's just like, you're launching a bar. I'm like, can I have a concept? 24
at this stage.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was 20, I was 22, 23.
I was just literally straight out of uni.
And I was just like, oh my God, like, this
crazy.
Is intense.
Yeah.
Like, it would just, you know, when I feel like that was, I feel like everyone has like a thing that they're good at, and I feel like that was my good thing.
You just hit your sweet spot.
Yeah, like it just accidentally happened really well. Like I had good press lists and I had contacts from other jobs, but it just accidentally was like, holy shit, like this is really good. Mm-hmm. And the first bar we got named on Secret London as like the most Instagrammable cocktail bar in London, and we got like all of these like this mad press that I was like, oh, like how, like I knew how I'd done it because like I worked really hard, but you know when you're just like, oh my God,
yeah, it's
like
a big
I'm
achievement,
actually buzzing with myself right now. Like I can't believe I've done this.
That must have been quite the life. So you're launching bars all over London.
Well, it was just 2 bars in London, but still.
But quite nice, high-end, fancy bars. Meeting lots of cool people because they're in the industry.
Yeah, we do like cool events with like fashion brands.
All your friends are in London. That, by most people's standards, of most millennial standards, would be like living the dream.
Yeah, it was cool. Like it was cool. But like, I feel like when you leave a job, you romanticize it so much.
Absolutely, yeah. That
like when we first moved here, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sad. Like I've left my dream job. Like, and just felt really shit. And then I look back and I'm like, it wasn't all like that. It wasn't like when I'd have events and when you feel really important and people coming to you for everything, they're like, oh, Jessie knows this person, you can do this, this and this. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it wasn't always like that. Like there was really horrible days where I'm like, oh, I can't be here. So it's like it was a good job. Like it was a really good job, but I'm glad that I've eventually clicked here because I was like feeling so shit when I first moved here because I was like, oh my God, I feel so pointless that I just didn't feel important anymore. And I'm like, I tried to realize that.
How long of a lead time did you have between deciding you were going to leave and leaving? How long did it take you to make the decision?
We made the decision really quickly. Mm-hmm. Like I basically made the decision for us because I would never.
Okay, he got the job and then you were like, okay, let's go.
Well, I was pushing him to apply for it because he was like, shall I apply for it? And I was like, well.
What was he doing before then?
He was a senior physio at UCLA, just like a big hospital in Warren Street. He's like, oh, shall I apply for it? I was like, yeah. Like, I was like, apply for it. Worst comes to it. Yeah, he's from North Shield, so I was like, we always said that we'd move back up here.
Okay, we were never always part of the plan.
Oh, definitely. Like, we would never have moved to Wales because there's no. He could get paid well to go there, but I'm like, what am I going to do in Wales? Like, if I ended up doing the job I was doing in London and Wales, they'd pay me no money for it. And I'd have to travel all the way into the city centre and it would be a crap bar. And I'm like, oh, like, it doesn't appeal to me to move there at all.
Yeah.
But no, like I was pushing him to apply for it. And I remember him sitting on the sofa being like, oh, I think I'm going to, like, I'm done with it now. I can't be bothered. And I was like, finish it, like just finish it because you'll be so annoyed with yourself.
Yeah.
And then he got asked up for interviews, and as soon as he had, I think it was like the second interview that he had, and I was like, right, that's it, we're moving to Newcastle.
Wow.
And I was like, that's it, like we're not,
You've been up here before?
Yeah, but only in the summer, annoyingly.
Yeah. It's very, very
and then
different.
We moved here in because I think we decided at the start of November and we moved in the February because we both had, actually it might have been less time than that. I think because he would have got his contract like 6 weeks. And I had 6 week notice period, and I gave my notice in like on the dot 6 weeks. So whatever 6 weeks before the start of February was, like that's when it was like, we're going. Right, so it was like December. Oh my God.
Christmas time, yeah.
Fuck, I should have thought things over a bit more than that for me. That was just like, yeah, come on, let's go. Oh, that's quite intense, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but you
big life decision to just be like.
I mean, a lot of people analyze those things to death, and then all of a sudden they get paralyzed by analysis and don't actually end up doing anything. And 10 years have gone by. all of a sudden. So
like
rather regret the things you do than the things you don't do. Not that you're regretting.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No, like it was the best thing for us. Like we've bought a house. Like that's mad.
You're like an adult now.
I am so grown up. I pay life insurance, but you know what the most depressing thing about buying a house is? You get all this life insurance and all of this boring crap, and you can't lie. Like, you know, when you go to the doctor and they're like, how many glasses of wine do you drink a week? How much do you smoke? And you're like, oh my God, I don't smoke. I only smoke when I'm drunk. But you can't lie on life insurance. Like you have to actually tell the truth.
Lie, then you don't get it paid out.
Exactly. And like, I feel like attacked by my own actions when they're like, maybe you shouldn't drink this much a week. I'm like, maybe you should just take my money and I'll pay the premium because like I need to drink constantly. Thank you. But yeah.
And so moving up, obviously you said you were a little bit sad to leave London. Has Newcastle been what you expected it to be? Because Newcastle is a very different city to a lot of cities. Very, very different to London. Most people,
oh God, yeah.
I think most people that live in Newcastle are from Newcastle.
Yeah.
And that in itself creates a completely different vibe or environment when someone moves into it. Because you go to London, everyone there has at some point moved there. So
no one is from London.
No.
Like nobody is.
And here it's very different. So that it's not that kind of culture of people moving here.
Yeah.
And then that's just completely different socially.
I don't bump into Welsh people here, which is weird.
Yeah.
Like it just happens in London.
Yeah.
And like, even though it's like, I get so jealous when me and Craig are out and he like bumps into someone he knows. I'm like, oh, that's literally never going to happen for me here. But like it would happen in London. Like randomly I'd be on the tube and I'm like, what are the chances of these like millions of people that I bump into like this one random person that I work with? And like I like how friendly everyone is here.
That is the best thing about Newcastle. The Geordies are incredible.
It is
friendly.
nice. Like as much as I loved it in London, people minding their own business. I think I just got places. That's maybe why I got so much shit done. Is because I wasn't stopping talking to anyone. I'm just like, right, this is where I'm going. Like I need to walk there fast and no one to look me in the eye, or I'll cry. And it's like I need to get there, and that's it. But it's I don't know what he's doing. He's just gonna be on the thing. He's fine.
I went to I'll go to like get a sandwich at lunchtime, and I go to the same sandwich shop most days.
That's
I have
beautiful.
like a 5-minute chat with the same guy.
I love that.
I feel like I'm in like some kind of sitcom. I go get my hair cut, and Claire cuts my hair. I've been cutting my hair for like 5 years, and we have a chat about her husband and all sorts of things. It's like a small town. It's got all the good things of a small town, but it's also big enough to be a city, and it has got all the good things that the city's got. So
I love that. I want to fully settle into that. Like I've spoken to one neighbour so far.
It takes a while.
And it's like, it took me like 7 months to find a hairdresser, and like I haven't found like my local pub yet, and there's like so many things that I took for granted before that I just was like, because it just happened naturally. And I think because I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, oh, I need to like feel normal. I need to get into these places.
It'll
I'm like trying to settle into my adult life here.
You can't force it though. Those things just will fall in naturally over time.
I know, but I feel like it's like I'm not a control freak, but I want things to just feel like not plateaued, but just like, yeah, this is normal. This is like day-to-day life.
Yeah, your routine. You feel like home then. Yeah.
But it's like, it's so rough where we live. Oh God. Like, because you know, the estate that we live in is beautiful. It's so nice and it's all new build houses, but fuck me, right? On the main street, there's a Greg's Outlet.
On the Greg's Outlet?
Did you know that existed?
I don't know. What's Greg's Outlet? What do they sell? Steak bakes for 50 pence?
I don't know if it's like broken food or if it's like food that should have been sold yesterday, but it's still in date. Like it's still good, but they're just selling it the next day.
Or it's just the innards.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
Just a big bucket of the innards.
Oh, but I was just like, because we've got that and like a Heron's Foods, and then there's loads of like Bookies and that, and I was like, oh, like.
Well, we're gonna have to just pause there for about that's half an hour.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll come back. Cool. So you moved up to Newcastle, and one of the conditions was that you could get a dog.
Yeah.
And you got a dog.
Got my dog.
And his name's Teddy.
He is the best dog.
He's sitting over there. We've got some pictures of him. Jack will throw them up on Instagram.
Oh, look at him.
So that's just you guys playing around in your bed?
This was him. So he gets into our bed and he pulls the quilt back and he gets right in the middle of the bed.
Nice.
And then he'll starfish in the bed, and his ears do this when he lies down.
Between you and Craig?
Yeah, so in the night he gets on the bed at the bottom, and we usually will bring him up in the middle of us, and he'll fall asleep like starfishing in the middle of the bed. Obviously not every night, but most nights he's...
Look at that picture there. Look how handsome he is.
That was literally when we first got him. That was like the first week that we had him.
Handsome boy.
Oh my goodness. Look at him. He's so handsome.
Oh, there you go.
But that was like his fur, like that was still his puppy fur, and it was really soft. But when it goes long now, he like curls and looks really scruffy. So we have to cut him a bit shorter now.
How did you pick him? How did you get him?
So
did you know that you wanted that type of dog, or?
Yeah, so I bought my mum a cockapoo last year,
yeah.
like as a Christmas present, as a surprise. She didn't know because our dog Buttons had passed away in like October. My mum never really liked the dog that much, but after I moved away, she was like, "Oh, I don't have my baby anymore, so this is my baby now." And then when Buttons died, it was horrible. Like she was ringing me, being like, "Oh my God, like I miss her. Like I keep thinking I'm gonna come down in the morning and she's not there." And it literally just broke my heart. And I found a cockapoo because I knew she really wanted one. It was either that or a labradoodle. And then I started talking to her more about labradoodles, and I'm like, "Mum, it's a really fucking big dog. Like, start thinking about maybe a cockapoo instead." And she's like, oh, "Yeah, I love them." And I went back to Wales, picked up her dog, and was like, "Oh, I need one of these now," and got really jealous. But it was.
Has Teddy met her dog?
No, he's gonna meet her at Christmas.
Oh.
It's going to be beautiful. I'm so excited. Because cockapoos just love other cockapoos. There's just like an instant bond there. But yeah, we decided to get him. It was like, I kept bringing it up to Craig and was like, "Oh, like we should get our dog soon. Like now's the time. My office is dog friendly. Like let's just do it." And like it ended up like me and him would like argue a bit because it's like it's too soon, like it's not time yet, like let's buy our house. And I'd get really sad. And then I just found Ted just by chance because on Pets for Homes they do like rehoming and you can buy dogs from puppies. Oh my God, so beautiful. And like that picture that you just had up, like he looked exactly like that but more orange in the picture that was on the website. And I showed Craig and he was like, "Oh, like I don't know." And then he took me out for dinner the next day and was like, "I was gonna take you out like to look at puppies for your birthday, but if that's the one that you want, then we'll go and see him."
Oh, awesome. And I can see how like you came in here early on and it's just so much. It's so emotional having a dog. Like it's just so much emotion that comes out of him and comes out of you from then just a dog being there.
It's ridiculous.
Can you take him out and like go to bars or just in public or whatever? You must have that just an outpour of emotion from random strangers all the time.
So much. Like me and Ellis took him to Trackle and he had his little hat on because people are like, "Oh, you can't put clothes on your dog." And I'm like, he loves it because the attention that he gets when he's wearing clothes. And probably about 5 people kissed my dog on the mouth that day. And I'm like, he'll stick his tongue in. Like, be careful. Like if there's an open mouth near him, he'll like get right in there. But no, this is like just constant attention all the time.
I can't imagine how much of a bond you must have with him because you're around him and you have that outpour of emotion all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, he must just feed off that as well. Imagine what having a kid is like.
Oh, I think it would be so much more shit. Like, because I just feel like it would just not be as fun.
You must have that
so much more responsibility having a kid. You can't compare them. That is horrible. That makes me so scared.
I mean, like, it's everything, but like on steroids compared to having a dog, isn't it? It's like it's so much more responsibility, but it's so much more emotional connection because it's like part of you. And then
literally terrifies me. Like even speaking about this, the thought of like having children is like, ugh.
Do you want kids?
Yeah, definitely. But like the chances of me having twins are so high that it really freaks me out.
Really?
It's both my grandmas are twins, and it's like
carries down on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Excellent.
That scares me. But then I suppose like if
twins is good though.
It's all done in one go then, isn't it? You don't have to like.
So my cousins have got twin boys and they're great. Get on so well with them. They're like 5 or 6 years old now.
You're gonna say 5 and 6? You're like, wait a minute, they're supposed to be twins.
And they're so different. There's so much energy. I go there for a weekend and I hang out with them and it's great. But like after a weekend,
it's nice for you to be like.
I come back here and I'm like, thank fuck, it's quiet now. Like Jesus, but
no, I couldn't.
Yeah, so they went right into the deep end, obviously had kids and they get it all done with. And they were kind of a little apprehensive about it. And then you speak to them after a couple of years and they were like, "Oh, we wish we had like a triplet. So we wish we had like 4 of them because then you have like your own little army or something like that."
Oh, that's quite cute when you think about it like that.
So they were, you know, at the Mars class, the breathing class thing?
Yeah.
They were that, but they were at 4 twins.
Oh.
Because apparently it's
Don't
different.
They usually do, isn't it like uncommon for when people have twins to like have a natural birth? Isn't it usually cesarean because one might stay in for longer? Or
I think she did end up having a C-section, but they were at this. I might not have been Lamar's. It might have been some kind of different class anyway.
Is it like it's like you breathe your way through labour and you don't need any pain medication. I'm like, hell no, give me drugs immediately. Like I can't cope with this.
Anyway, this one was specific
Oh, he likes tape.
It's fine. You can have that tape.
When we were painting the living room, he ate 2. Give this here.
That's where the tape's from.
He ate 2 rolls of sellotape. I'm just gonna hold this. Go over there in your bed.
So anyway, they're at this class and it's specifically for twins. So everyone there's having twins, and they were just chatting to other people about like what it's like to be expecting twins. And this one couple was like, "Yeah, we've got 3 kids." And
they wanted more?
No, accidentally fell pregnant with triplets. So that's gone from 3 kids to 6 kids.
Oh my God, that literally...
Family of 5
Can
to
you imagine
family
the
of 8.
panic? The full panic when you're like, okay, it's already scary that I'm pregnant, but now I'm having a litter. Like, I'm basically a cat.
New car, new house, everything changes. Like, overnight, you just got to...
You have to get a people carrier.
Completely shift your
life.
life.
With the doors that, like, you know, the not just open, they slide.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get one of them.
Or a bus. Just... That's an army.
Oh, right that makes me literally. I'm really happy with just a dog right now. Like I've said to Craig, I keep like dropping hints. I mean, like maybe in like a year or 2 we'll get another dog, and then we can make them an Instagram, and it'll be beautiful, and people can send us free stuff. Like that's what I want.
That's what you want.
I want that.
Kids like in your 30s.
No, because like in my head I'm like I want to be pregnant by the time I'm 30, because the thought of having a child after 30 scares me.
Okay, fair
don't
enough,
know why. Like the whole concept of children scares me.
Yeah, it's frightening.
But
it's
I have like
frightening
my
for me, and I
plan in my head. I'm like, we've got the house. I just need to get engaged, get married, and have children all in the space of 6 years.
Sorry, what was that? Engaged? You buy the house?
We bought the house.
Engaged,
married,
kids. 6 years.
In 6 years.
That's very doable. You're fine.
Where do you get all the money from though for like having children? Because I think like I can't like since I've moved up here, I've got like no disposable income, and it's shit. Because in London it'd be like, oh yeah, we'll just go out for meals every night and we can like do what we want. But
you find you have less disposable income.
I have so much less money here.
London. That's amazing.
I have so much less money.
Because the whole argument for that most people give why they don't want to move to London is because I'll be skint all the time.
No, because you don't pay for car insurance. So and you're not paying for the lease on your car. You're renting, like you're not buying a house. Like, well, so our mortgage, life insurance, all of the boring stuff that goes with it is the same as what our rent was in the flat here, but it's.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean? So like that didn't really make a difference to buying a house. Like obviously save and you are skint, but our actual outgoings didn't change buying the house. But I've got no money here. Wow. I like look at myself at the end of the month and I'm like, whereas I'd be like drinking nearly like every other night. And
still to have the same amount of money as what you do.
I have money left over. Like I don't understand. But because I'd worked in hospitality for so long, like you always know people.
So you get cheap drinks.
So you can get cheap drinks or free drinks. And because we were doing like fashion events quite a lot, I'd be like, oh, I like some of this line, and people would send me stuff. So I'm saving money on like clothes shopping and drinks. But
I'd say that I don't think. Okay, so I remember going down to London 2008, and there was a big difference in prices of drinks and stuff. Now, not really. Newcastle's quite expensive.
It is expensive.
It's £5.50 for a drink in a lot of places that we go. Like for a pint of beer, for a pint of lager. Whereas you go to London and it's not that much more expensive.
It's still expensive. Like you can be paying like £13 for like a double gin and tonic, and you're like, that's normal, and like up to £6 to £7 a pint.
Yeah.
But no, like I just find it like I'm concerned like maybe I'm just really bad at managing my finances here. I buy a lot of food. I do a lot of food shopping. So I'm like, I feel like I need to be one of those like crazy coupon people and start maybe doing that.
You shouldn't have to. There's just 2 of you living in a house.
I don't understand what I'm doing. Like I really don't. I don't. Do you know when it's getting to the point where like a week after payday, I'm like, where is my money?
Just heroin, no cocaine, nothing.
It's just yeah. Someone must be doing something.
Yeah,
because I just feel attacked by my own actions because I'm just
consistently.
You have a joint account, right? It's gonna be. We do, but it's not like set up yet.
Yeah, okay. I was going to suggest that Craig might be lifting some from the side.
Oh no, like that joint account is because we got like £1,000 cash back from the mortgage. So the only reason they put the check in both our names. It's like all that really boring. Like, I need to set up a joint bank account so I can have my money. And
that's bullshit. Yeah.
I was really pissed off about that.
Loads of my mates I speak to in London, they are out all the time.
All the time.
Like 5-6 days a week, and I can't do that now though. Like, do you reckon it's like a drinking fitness that you get?
Oh my god, my full adult hangovers have now set in, and I just don't know how I lived before this.
It's a real thing, right?
Oh my god,
it's a real thing.
So after Ellis is leaving so we like I was solidly like I probably had like about like 11 or 12 double gins or rums or whatever I was drinking, and you just can't get drunk. And I'm like, I'm having a really good time. Like, this is brilliant, but I just can't get drunk. I think because like I ate towards the end of the day and I just messed myself up completely. And got a kebab on the way home, and I woke up the next day and Craig genuinely thought I had food poisoning because I was lying on the bathroom floor crying in my pants, and he was just like, Jessie, like, are you okay? And I was like, no. Like, and I was like, Craig, like, I've never had a hangover like this before. He's like, Jessie, I think you've got food poisoning. I didn't, because after we went to Candy's wedding, I was the same.
Oh no.
And it's like just lying on the bathroom floor, dry heaving all day.
There's nothing worse. Like, it's the only thing that I think gets worse as you get older. Like, I love getting older. Every year gets better, but just the hangovers get exponentially worse. Like, it's got to the point now. So I'm doing dry November, not drinking all of November, and it's not because I want to be healthy. It's not because I'm training for anything. It's not because
can't deal with hangovers.
I just need a break from feeling hungover on the weekend.
I feel like I stopped drinking as much. Like, I feel like I self-destruct myself quite a lot. Like, if I'm feeling like a little bit sad or anxious, or like if something is like going on and I don't really know what's going on, I'll just drink in the night. Like, not like I'm going home and getting pissed, but I'm like, I'll have a couple of glasses of wine. And then after 2 weeks, I'm like, holy shit, like, I've been drinking all week, like, something is wrong here. And then I try and figure out like why I'm sad or like what is going on. And I was like, right, I'm gonna stop doing that now. And a week before we moved, I stopped drinking in the house through the week. And then now my hangovers are really bad. So I don't know if it's because I've stopped drinking as much.
I think there is such a thing as like drinking fit. Like,
I think maybe I need to start drinking again. But not sad drinking. Like, just maybe have a rum instead of red wine. Because I feel like red wine is quite a sad drink. It's a good drink to drink. You could like drink it watching Bridget Jones and being like, oh God, like my life.
What's your favourite film?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't. Maybe Shawshank Redemption.
That's a good film.
I feel like it's always in like every top 5.
It is everyone's.
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah. Okay.
Leo.
Yeah. Do you like the smart twist of the story at the end? The surprise where the characters have got quite a lot of depth, and then all of a sudden you don't see the story going where it ends up. That
you mean like in general? I thought you meant like with that exact film. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen it for like a month, so I can't remember.
No, both of those films have like quite big twists at the end.
Like Fight Club. Like, I love Fight Club.
Great film.
It's like, because I don't think Craig had ever seen it until he was with me. I'm like, you need to watch it. Like, it's one of the best films ever.
You your boyfriend to Fight Club.
Yeah, well, I did
That's
it.
Amazing.
For my A-levels, I did media studies because I just wanted to get an A from somewhere. So I did that, and Fight Club was like part of the exam.
That's amazing.
How cool is that?
That is incredible.
So like every lesson for like 2 months, we just watched Fight Club and spoke about it. And
so you must be like a Fight Club expert.
Oh, I love it. It's so good.
There's loads of like deep underlying things within Fight Club, aren't there, that are written into the film that the writer of the book and the director of the film have only kind of talked about afterwards.
Oh God, no, I don't.
I don't know what they are. I was hoping you.
No, is it just like the psychological things about like Brad Pitt and the other guy? Because they're obviously the same person.
Yeah. It was things like
the deep-rooted parts of his personality that you thought you could never get out before, and then turns out he's like absolutely crazy.
Do you ever feel like you're playing the game that Edward Norton's playing? Not the game, but you know how he's talking about when he buys all the stuff for his flat, and he's got like the perfect bowl that's got the authentic chip marks in it. Yeah. And it's basically just consumerism, and he's gone around his whole apartment, and pretty much everything's from IKEA.
Well, like in here.
Do you ever feel like you're playing that same game?
I feel like, because I go on Pinterest quite a lot, and I feel like I want to walk into a room in my house and be like, I would pin this, like Pinterest.
Do you like that?
Yeah, that makes me feel satisfied. Like when people come, because like we haven't finished the living room yet, but when people are coming over and they're like, oh, I really like, I'm like, yeah, I need that. So what? Because I know it looks a bit like our living room is like quite crazy. Like it's like royal blue walls and like a massive fur rug, and our sofas are stripy. Like it is quite aggressive. Essentially, looks like a pimp den.
That's how you moved into it, though. Yeah?
No.
You didn't like that.
No, I did it on purpose. Actually, like it looks insane for a reason, because it was all white, but the floors are white as well, and it's like shiny tiles, and it was. Oh, I don't know. Like, have you ever just like sat in a room and you're like, it just doesn't feel like I should be sitting in this room? That sounds really weird and obscure, but I feel uncomfortable.
You feel uncomfortable in the room that you were in?
Yeah, because it was all white, and it was almost like there was too much empty space in there. And I haven't put anything more in the room apart from the rug. But just, It just feels a bit more enclosed, like in a nice way. Cozy.
So is there any changes? Sorry, what was it before, and what changes did you make?
So it was completely white, and we literally just painted the walls royal blue and bought rugs.
And then put a rug down.
Yeah.
And rugs can change a room there to pull a whole room together.
He's gonna try and eat these little statues that you've got here.
With little clay ornaments.
Did you make these?
No, I didn't make them.
This is what you do in your spare time.
Those, we picked them up just outside Cape Town. So those are from South Africa.
Cool.
They
What's the matter, Pooch?
They were like £5.
In your bed?
Not even £5, I think. Like £3.50 for two.
They're cute. It looks like you could have bought them from IKEA.
So, you know, my two little nephews, they're not nephews, but my cousin's kids, the twins I was talking about earlier, they came around, and there isn't really much you can do to break, well, there isn't much you can break in here.
Oh, what did they break? Was it something good?
They walked in the door, and before I could close it, they both had that in their hands, and they were going, and
what, like on the floor?
Just on here. They just grabbed it and like... So they are broken and they glue back together. But yeah, that's what you'll have to deal with when you have kids.
Oh, no.
Breaking your ornaments.
I feel like I just want to get to the point where like I can afford a nanny and I can just carry on going to work. Like that scares me as well, because it's like my role like as a woman, and because I like here now I earn less money than Craig. So it's like I'm going to be half the person that looks after them. And like that's gross. Like and it's like obviously it's not gross because like they'll be my children and I love them, but I'm like, oh, like, do you think you'd resent them?
I always get scared that I'm going to be too harsh on my kids if I have them. So I'll push them way harder than I should, and then it puts loads of pressure on them. So like with sport, if they want to do sport, I'll be like, okay, cool, you want to do that sport, let's do that sport. But
you better be good at it, or you're not playing it anymore. We're going to
run drills on a Sunday morning early on. But yeah, so I don't think it's natural to kind of worry about what kind of parent you're going to be. I don't think you'd resent them for...
No, it's not worrying about like I feel like I'd be a good mum, but it's just the fact that like you'd give up your job to look after this thing that you've made, and then in like 10 years would you be like, oh,
no,
like,
I don't think
I could have been doing something so cool right now.
Imagine you'd given up your job to look after 3 teddies, but multiply it by 1 million, and you've probably got kids.
Yeah, true. Yeah, maybe
you'll be fine.
Maybe it's because like I don't like see a kid and be like, oh, the way that I do with a dog.
See, I'm the same. I've never seen a baby and gone, oh, I want one. I've never seen a kid and gone, oh, I want one.
I just think like, oh, those clothes are cute, and I appreciate how your parents have exploited you by putting you in it. But like, it's just...
Yeah, I can kind of see the attraction to building a person.
Yeah, because you can literally make them like they're going to be half of you and half of your partner. So it's like, but it'll be the good bits.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to show your child the bad bits.
Yeah, and you can sculpt them to be a gentleman or a dick.
You could make them cool.
Yeah, that's
then
what I think.
If you give your kid like a really cool name and then they turn out just like really boring and they just want to play with puzzles? like what do you like if you get
then
like
you'll probably resent them, and then you'll probably go back to work and hire a nanny.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Because like my dad wanted to call me Red, and I'm like, nice. I feel like I'm not cool enough to be called Red.
I can see you as a Red.
I want to sculpt a cool child and call them Red. Or maybe just change their name when they're older.
How much do you think your parents sculpted you into what they wanted you to be?
I feel like I am 100% like full half and half of my parents.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Personality, looks, everything.
I don't really look like my parents. Like they like my hair is obviously naturally really dark, but they're like quite olivey, brown eyes. Like I don't look like my parents at all.
Interesting.
Like at all. Like I've genuinely tried to have the conversation with my mum like
oh, you sure?
Because my brother looks exactly like them as well.
Not adopted.
And I'm like, I won't be angry. Like I just want to know, like, why are my eyes blue? This doesn't make sense. Yeah, and she's like, Jessie, for fuck's sake, like, don't ask me things like that. But no, but like, I feel like I'm a really mothering person the same way my mum is. Like I just want to like look after people, which like Craig always gets really annoyed with, because he's like, oh my god, like you don't need to do everything for me. I'm like, yeah, but I want to. Like I want to cook for you. Like I want to make sure that you're okay all the time. And like my dad has calmed down loads now since he's like got older, but like just short tempered like him as well. Like not in a generic sense of like everyday life. I'm not just gonna like start shouting at people on the street, but it's
but you got a bit of fire. You got a bit of
I feel like it comes out really quickly, or it doesn't come out at all.
What do you think's been your biggest challenge?
What, in general life?
In across the board.
Oh my god, I don't know.
Big question. Change the topic.
Yeah, that's like a really big question.
It's a hard one.
I honestly don't know.
What's the thing you struggled with the most is anything moving up here? Maybe?
I think moving up here, like the first 2 months of living here was horrible because I didn't have a job when I moved here. It was the sense of like
just took a plunge, didn't you?
Literally, it was fully just like, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, let's just do it. And I was like, I'll find a job. I've got a really good CV. Like, oh, it sounds terrible, not in that like horrible wanky sense, but I'm like, I've got a pretty good CV. It's from London. Like, I went to a good uni. Like, I know I'll get a job, but the first 2 months, like I didn't, and it was horrible.
And
like,
how long have you been with Craig for at this time?
When we moved, we'd been together 2 years. So it's not even God, that long.
Yeah.
But we moved in with each other like really quick. Out of it was kind of like his rent, his contract was up and ours was up too, and we were like, oh well, we found this flat. Like, why don't you move in with us? Because it was a beautiful flat, and it all just worked out perfectly.
You sound like you know what you want from your future in terms of you got a 6-year plan, and you sound like you got
I hope Craig never watches this, because he's gonna be like, Jessie, can you stop? Because I say it to him, like he obviously knows, but I mean, he's like, please stop telling people because they're gonna think you're insane.
No, I think it's normal to have a plan.
Yeah.
And I think people set themselves deadlines. Probably the only danger is that if you get married to those deadlines and for some reason it doesn't happen, then you have to question yourself. But having a kind of rough plan, I think, is normal. But okay, so you've got the guy, you've got the plan. Well, what point did you kind of think that Craig was the guy for you, and that was the way you were going to go?
I don't know. I feel like you just know.
So you met him in a bar. You were working. He came up to you, and how did it go initially? Was there ever a moment where you were like, "This guy's a bit weird," or
no? Like, that's why I love him. Like, he's so weird. Like, he is the strangest guy ever. Like, I'll walk into the kitchen, he'll be like singing to Ted, and like it won't be like a normal song. Like, he'll make up a song and like sing it at our door. I'm just gonna pick him up because he's quiet.
Go for it. Yeah.
Come on.
No, it doesn't.
No, I hate him. I hate it when he does that. It's so heartbreaking. But no, like he's so strange, and like I love that. Like no one sees him being like that, and like if I'm talking to like his cousin or just like someone who knows Craig about something really weird that he's done, they're like, what? No, like he doesn't do it. I'm like, no, he is a freak of nature.
So you know him at a level that no one else knows him.
Yeah, well, like he'll be like in front of his mum and his sister, but like that's because he's Teddy. Come on.
Did you have an idea of what you wanted in a guy? What type of guy you wanted to end up with when you were older? Do you have a picture of him, or not?
No, I don't think so. Like Craig is like quite a grumpy guy, and I like that. Like I think it's funny. Like I just think there's always like a reason for someone to be grumpy, and like when you figure that out, it's like brilliant. Like when I was in London on Wednesday, and because you know Spice Girls.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah.
So they're playing at the Stadium of Light, so Craig could get priority tickets.
Oh, nice.
And they were going to be cheaper, and like it would have all been real easy. And he rang me because me and his cousin were supposed to be sorting it out, but I thought they were sorting it out. And he like rang up and was like all flustered and was like, oh, I need to speak to HR, and was like he's being a bit of a dick. And I was like, okay, like don't worry about it. Like I can't be bothered. I'm in London. I'm not going to fix things now. And it was like we both were angry at each other, and it was like, right, fuck off. I'm not speaking to you now. And I got back in the night and I was like, why were you so horrible earlier? And he's like, I wasn't horrible. And then like 2 hours later, I found out that he'd done like this fitness test in work, and it was a fitness test for the players. Like it wasn't for him. He'd just done it because he just wanted to know. And he scored like really badly on it. So it put him in a foul mood for the rest of the day. I'm like, you were being horrible because you're not as fit as you thought you were. And he's like, yeah.
Did he like, know that that's why he was being...
No, it's like when he told me about the test and he told me about it, and I'm like, was that before or after that we spoke? And he was like, it was before. So and then it's like he clicked then straight away. I'm like, you are ridiculous.
Guys like that though. I'm very much like that. I'll be in a bad mood. I won't even realise that I'm in a bad mood.
No, he doesn't get why he's in it. He's like, he knows he's snapping, but he'll like apologise, and then it's usually me that like figures out why he's, but I don't know, I just like grumpy men. I just think it's funny. Like my dad's super grumpy as well, so it's like I think it's just funny.
It's really positive. It's a really great trait to have, because you can take comfort and happiness out of other people's what other people might not look at as that.
Because I feel like people are grumpy for a reason, and like I think there's a difference between being grumpy and being angry, and I feel like you're grumpy as a result of like you don't really know why you're being grumpy. Like it's there for a reason, but
there's a stroke of innocence to it as well.
Yeah, like it's never malicious. Like he's never been angry at me for anything. It's just like,
so with something like it, I imagine conflict. If you like grumpy people,
I
imagine conflict resolution's quite an easy and maybe even an entertaining thing. Like when you guys argue, you kind of laugh about it.
Yeah, it's not like a proper argument. It's like if he's being a dick, I'm like, you're being a fucking dick, and he's like, yeah, I know. And it's just like, okay, that's it. Like, it's not like we don't argue. It's just kind of like, you're being an asshole and this is why you're being an asshole. Like, me as well. Like, I'm an asshole too.
Yeah, everyone can be assholes.
And it's just kind of like, oh yeah, do you know what? I am. Thank you for telling me, and I'm sorry. It's like, you know, when you just like, do you know, sometimes when you just get on your roll and you're like, I know I'm wrong, but I'm just going to carry on. Like, what am I doing?
Their own worst enemy. But I don't think everyone can at times look at it and go, oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah, because you're on the roll and you're like, I'm never going to give up this stance that I'm in now, even though I'm like failing miserably.
Do you find either of you stubborn?
Yeah, both very stubborn. Like, I think it's good. Like, we're not argumentative though. Like, I'm quite fiery and like it'll come out, but it's not. I won't go out of my way to like start an argument with him, but like we are stubborn. Like, we'll have our opinion. Like with things with the house, it's like, oh, I like this. It's like, well, I like this, and it's like, well, someone needs to back down because we both like different things. I feel like we found like comfortable medium so far. The big decisions aren't going to be happening until next year, like the bathrooms. And it's like, I have like a really solid direction that I want to go in and he's not feeling it. So I feel like it's going to be a slow ride.
Have you got like tactics ahead of time of what you're going to do? Or not what you're going to do, but how...
Pinterest boards, it's ridiculous.
Are you going to try and give him a few of the smaller arguments so that you've got like a big one that you're going to win at the end?
No, it's like, I feel like if I show him it enough and explain to him why I think it's a good idea, like he's logical, and I said to him a couple of times like, stop stunting my creativity but it's like obviously joking, and then he's like, oh, do you know what, like you are right, like you do have like an eye for it, so we'll do it. Of
course, you're the creative when you went to design school.
But I just like weird things. Like I found this print and it was the girl in the pearl earring, but she was in the bath and it was like a bit trampy, and I'm like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And then I found like other ones like the Mona Lisa in like a towel, and it was like all like these interpretations of these paintings, and I was like, oh my god, these are so cool. But like he doesn't get it. He's like, I don't get that painting.
Is he not artistic? Is he more analytical, he's
more logical than like, he's super smart. Like, you know, when
to be a physio, you got to be pretty smart.
He's so smart, because like I didn't realize like what physios actually did.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's crazy. Like, and I think, I don't know, like, you know, when you're just listening to someone sometimes talking, you're like, how does your brain like soak in that kind of information? Like when he worked on like A&E, he worked on A&E physio, and he'd be like resuscitating people and like doing all of this like mad stuff. I'm like, oh my god,
wow.
Like I literally just like take money off people and like make them happy with alcohol, and you're like out here doing all of this mad stuff. Like it's
the real world things.
Yeah, no, that's like a full-on adult thing. Whereas like I was getting paid to go out and get drunk with people as like part of an event. It's ridiculous.
Do you want to break there again? Yeah. Okay. So you met Craig, and 2 years, and then straight from the bat, you kind of everything went really well.
Yeah.
How did you guys first start dating? What was the first date he kind of took you on?
Yeah. So he asked for my number. It was like my last shift. I think it was like right at the start of December. No, it was at the end of December, and he had loads of time off and went home, and we were like texting all over Christmas and like on Christmas Day and being all cute, and we went on our first date in Winter Wonderland on the 2nd of January.
Nice.
And Winter Wonderland in London is possibly like the coolest place ever. It's amazing. You've got this like massive like wooden barn full of like German bands just like getting absolutely pissed, like drinking tankards and like eating currywurst, and it was brilliant.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
It was so good. And then we went back to this like dive bar like pretty close to where we both lived, that is like open till like 6 a.m. every night, and it's like where all of hospitality staff go, so it's like I'd always go there, and I knew it. And do you ever like get surprised like how much you can drink?
No,
and you're just like,
I'm a massive lightweight though, but
like it just, because I think we met up at probably like 5 o'clock and ended up leaving at like 2, and this was solid drinking, like pint tequila, pint.
Were you just like sitting chatting and
literally just non-stop chatting?
The time just kind of flew.
Yeah, and it was just, I remember waking up the next day being like, fucking hell, like I can't believe that I'm like not hungover, and the fact that I didn't pass out. I think I was so distracted just by having a conversation that I just didn't realise how much I was drinking.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Like that much tequila, like literally a tankard of tequila, and just.
And both like of you were obviously able to hold your liquor and kind of probably impressed each other that way.
Yeah, it was just like, look how much I can drink. This is brilliant.
We're made for
and
each
just ended
other.
up having like heart-to-hearts about like all of this just like stuff, and
on
it
the
was
first dates. That's great. Yeah,
like full heart to hearts. Like started talking about like talking about my brother. So my brother is, oh god, how old is he now? He's 23. My brother's severely autistic. He's got ADHD.
You're younger than you.
Yeah, well,
okay.
year and a half. Like just sits, but
It's
like
just the two of you.
Yeah, it's just the two of us. But like Joe's been in residential since I was like 12, probably.
Okay.
And
so what does residential mean?
It's like residential housing. So Joe is like at the top of the autistic spectrum.
Okay.
And he's non-verbal, which obviously is really difficult with things like schooling, and all of the schools like in our borough is like notoriously difficult for any form of like social services. Like they're absolutely crap. And they were trying to put him in schools with either mainstream children. Look at him. They're trying to put him in schools with like mainstream children, or put him in special needs schools where people would be in his class with like severe cerebral palsy, and you're like, no, like he can't be in that environment, because if like he flips his lid, that's it. And there needs to be like 4 full-grown men to like control him.
Wow.
And we were like talking about that, and be like what that was like being younger and having a brother that you know could just be like, oh, okay.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, what was that like growing up like in that environment?
You just have to like grow up really quickly, like being little, because it's like, you know, that whatever Joe needs is more important than what I not need is in the sense to survive, but it's like, I know if we're going shopping, Joe doesn't like a certain Asda, so if we're going to that Asda, he's going to kick off, and I need to go and get all of the shopping right now. And if we're going in a car and we go past a certain place that he's used to, so if we're going to Caerphilly and we don't go to my granddad's, he's like, why are we not going to granddad's? And he'll get really frustrated. And it's just, I feel like you just get this like sense of calm about you, because you know you have to be portraying that calm all the time, and just being just so aware about what you're doing constantly. Like he got taught like slotting things like in a post box. Like it took a really long time for his teacher to teach him that. And you'd come home, right, and his bedroom window was like, you know, where you can just open them at the top. And I'd come home from school and there would be like videos and like blankets, like just that he's like, look, I can do it, like pushing it out the window. And like, but it would always be my stuff. And like emptying, like he really likes water. So like he'd turn the tap on and get like some of my like hair products or expensive shampoos, as like when I was first going blonde, and just like watch them come out. I'm like, I can't be angry because he doesn't know that that's really bad.
God, yeah. So I must imagine that must just be able to develop your ability to really put yourself in someone else's shoes, or understand what they think of a situation, and be very aware of other people's feelings all the time, especially if you had that growing up. And
I feel like people don't know anything about autism, and they just think like, oh, it's Asperger's, it's Sheldon off The Big Bang Theory, and it's like, no, like the spectrum is just so that my belly is rumbling. Like I think you can just hear it on the mic. But the spectrum is so, no, I'm not. I just have like a rumbly belly. But the spectrum is just so vast that people just like automatically assume, they're like, oh, so what can he do good? I'm like, no, it's not. It's not like that. It's like the sense, like he's a grown man, but his mentality is still probably sitting like around like a 4 or 5 year old, in the sense that like he's learning things out of routine. Like, and he's a lot calmer now. But I think that's Ted. Can you smell that?
There's a little bit of an odd smell that's floated into the room.
I've just taken you outside, Pooch. Oh, gross.
He's proud of it.
He is. Look at him. Oh, God.
Drops it here and walks the other side.
Yeah, literally, he's like, there, that's not my problem now. Thanks, everyone. But, yeah, it's just, and I feel like I'll like try and educate people a little bit sometimes, and they're like, it's like when someone meets someone and they're like, oh, they're a bit weird, and like you can, but like I'm like, I think they're on the spectrum, and like you can sense it. I'm like, they're not weird, like that's just like how they're functioning as a person. But then again, that's complete different ends of
it must scale. Make you very understanding of people's nuances, the things that make them different at a small scale. Me and Jack and everyone that you meet, you've got something different, and if it's not kind of what you're used to, a lot of people like shut that out and go, okay, then that's outside the spectrum that I'm going to accommodate with you, because you probably been, your spectrum's been pulled so much when you were so young. You must be really understanding of a lot of people that you meet. You just
soak in people's personalities a lot quicker, and you'll try and notice things that like maybe they do and don't like, and just try and acknowledge that as much as you can, to be like, because even even like outside of the spectrum, just like a normal person, like I would never want to do something that I know is irritating someone here.
Of course, yeah.
And it's like I appreciate when people do that to me as well, and they're like, oh yeah, I know that Jessie doesn't like that, so I'm not gonna do that.
Great, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because
I feel like it's like almost like quite needy to feel like that, to be like, you should be like this around me, and it's not that in like an aggressive way, but it's like,
if you can pick that up in the subtext, and you can accommodate someone like that, not do some things that annoy them, then you've got a much better chance of understanding someone.
Yeah, definitely.
And them getting to like you and getting close to them.
Yeah. So
you spoke about that with Craig on the first date?
Yeah, literally like on the first date, and we were chatting about it.
Have you ever had a first date like that before?
I've had like I think that was like my second ever first date.
And you hit a home run on your second time.
Yeah, it was literally just like, oh my God, like straight away.
God.
But it was just, I don't know, it was just nice to talk to a person who was not just like, oh yeah, like autism is this, and this is what this happens, and this is, I'm like, he was just listening to me speak and was doing like what you're doing, and was like analysing that and being like, oh, like how did you feel about that? And I was like, oh, do you know what? Like, I don't know. Because everyone would be like, oh my God, that must have been so difficult. Like how did your parents find that? And all, because just before Joe went to his first residential school, like he was on loads of medication as well. I got diagnosed with epilepsy, so it was just like a big shitstorm, like thrown at my parents. Like,
how old were you at this stage?
I think I was like 10 when I got diagnosed with epilepsy.
Wow.
But it was like I was having like seizures in the house, and like obviously like Joe still needs to be like 24-hour care, like complete 1-to-1.
She's been working around the clock.
I know. I remember just feeling really bad. Like I went to the, like obviously it's not my fault. Like,
no,
it's no one's
not.
fault.
No.
But I remember coming back from the hospital after I had to have like a brain scan, so I have to try and figure out like what triggers your seizures to see if you're focal or like or light sensitive or all of these things. And I was just like, oh my God, like I feel so bad for my mum and dad. And I just started crying on the way back. And I was just like, oh my God.
Very emotional.
Like that's, yeah, and like you're a kid, like at that age as well, like you're obviously like starting puberty, so there was probably other things that were like making me emotional, but you're just like, shit mate, like you just had 2 kids and all of this is going on, like that must be, I think that's why maybe I get scared about having kids. Maybe that's what it is.
Your parents still together?
Yeah, they've been together since they were 18.
Wow.
And they're like beautiful. Like,
that's great.
I want me and Craig to be like my mum and dad, and I can see that because I'm like, my mum is like, like, are you okay, like really like all over me, and then my dad is just quite grumpy.
Have your parents met Craig?
Yeah, my dad is obsessed with Craig.
That's great.
Like, and he doesn't normally like any man ever, and it's just kind of like, I'm just not really going to speak to you, but like he loves Craig so much.
Are they both grumpy? You said.
Yeah, like my dad's not that grumpy anymore. Like he's so much like calmer now. I feel like with age he's
tends to be what happens.
Calmed. And my mum says it as well. She's like, he's getting soft in his old age. And I'm like, yeah, he is. But they both, I don't know, they just get on. They're just like blokes, and they're just.
So straight from the bat, the relationship's going brilliantly, and he gets this job up here, and you, without a moment's notice, like, yep, let's do it, let's go. I'll move from, I'll leave my life in London, and we'll go to the northeast and plough straight into it. That must have been a big challenge, a big move, lots happening. You found settling in Newcastle okay? Yeah,
it was hard. It was hard at the start in the sense of like, I'm on my own, like I don't know what I'm doing, like what is my purpose now? You have this like existential crisis, like shit, like what am I doing? And that's when you start romanticizing your old job, and you're like, oh God, I had everything so perfect, when in retrospect it wasn't perfect. Like
an old relationship
I had, like I had a stressful job, like it was really intense, and we didn't sorry,
Jack's winding him up, that's why.
I don't know what he's doing. He's just crying.
Carry on.
He's became very interested in my mic. I think it's a toy. He tries to keep biting the. So if you've heard rustling, that's what it is.
He doesn't like chew things though. Like he'll just want to take it somewhere and just he like doesn't bite it. He'll just like put his teeth on it and be like, oh, okay.
Yes, if you can't hear scratching, that's.
Oh, he's so cute.
He is.
I feel like the worst human in the world because I can't let him do it.
Oh, Ted, you've got a bone in your bed, hun. Come on.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's like, Mama, okay. But yeah, it was different. It was hard, and it was like what we've spoken about before, where it's like coming to somewhere like this is the same as like it would be moving to Wales. Like everyone has their friendship groups. Like you're always gonna be the new friend. And it was like, I was like, I don't want to go outside the house. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like, and just feel like a bit of a melted person.
I can share that feeling kind of thing. I've lived here for a while and had kind of several different friendship groups, but always found Newcastle quite difficult to crack socially. Everyone's incredibly friendly and welcoming, but it's just trying to break down that initial barrier and get accepted into the social
and not just be like the key friend that's not from here. Because like I'd always be someone's Welsh friend.
Yeah, well, I'm the South African friend.
You'd be exactly the same. And like it doesn't make a difference, but you're like, oh mate, come on, like I just want to be a normal friend, and that would be fine with me. Yeah. But it's still breaking into it. Like,
do you think what the social scene here in terms of like going to bars, going to nightclubs is different to London and therefore London's it's easier to meet people because it's more pubby, more.
It's just really aggressively masculine here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like probably the first proper night out that I had was like 2 or 3 months after we moved, and my gay friend came up, and we went to Rusty's, which I got recommended, and was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is the straightest, most like aggressive gay bar I've ever been into in my life. And it was like just like a row of straight guys like standing there with their beers being like, I'm a man, don't touch me.
At Rusty's?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been there a few times. That is a gay bar.
Yeah, it is. Well, apparently. But I feel like, if me and Craig go out, I'm like, it is very like I'm a bloke and I'm here to like find a woman, and it's like all of that kind of like, you can like smell the testosterone when you go into a bar, and I'm like, I feel a bit more uneasy going out here than I did in London.
How would you describe it now in London?
I don't know, like you feel like a bit of a wanker because you're like, oh yeah, it's like you go into like all these like weird quirky places, and to be honest, it's probably more boring because you spend half the time talking about how like cool the place is where you are, and like what other boring cool places that you're going to go to. Yeah. And maybe it's just like a bit more normal here, and I just haven't settled into that not being a wanker vibe.
It does take a while to learn Newcastle. Newcastle's got loads of cool bars and loads of cool places to go, but
so I keep finding like random places like is it like Buddha Lounge or Buddha something in Tynemouth, this restaurant, which is beautiful. You go in, you're like, oh my God, it's so fancy. Like, I love it. And
Tynemouth itself's amazing. Yeah.
My dream house is in Tynemouth. Like, it's like £750,000. And one day
it would be like 3 million in London, probably more.
It would be like lots of millions. Like, it would be ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, even like they're down by Riley's Fish Shack, and that's just beautiful. That part of the world.
Well, it's the house, like, you know, like right at the end of like that street, there's a house on the right, and it's that house. Oh, right. And when we were like, no, we were going to move here, we were like, should we buy a house? And we're like, maybe we should see if we like it before we move. And you're like, that's a really good idea. Maybe we should rent first. We didn't see our flat before we moved here. Like Craig's mum picked it, basically. She's like, this is the only one that's not shit. Get this one. But yeah, that was quite scary.
You just pack up everything and go, didn't you?
Yeah, no, you're making me realise that it's like quite an insane decision that it was just like,
doing it.
Yeah, it's just like, we fully were just like, come on, let's go. Yeah. Like, and that's
because you committed to it.
That was it.
It's a beautiful thing.
Like, he was so appreciative of it. Like, I was like, we're fucking doing this. Like, this is what's happening. And he always said, like, we'll rent to make sure that you like it. And if you don't, like, if you want to move to Wales, we'll move to Wales.
That's nice that
and he always was like, we don't have to live there. Like, let's just see. And he was like, if you don't like it, like, we'll always leave. And I was like, yeah, but what if you love your job? And it was never, like, he was so grateful that I really wanted him to be doing his dream job, that he was like, I'm really grateful you're letting me try it. And if it's not for me, if it's not for you, then it's not for me either, and we'll find something else.
That's incredible though, because I think what every guy wants is a partner. They want someone who they can, like, most guys have like a goal or an ambition or a kind of career path. Women as well. Yeah. And they want to know that they can do that and have the partner next to them that's going to help them achieve it rather than hinder them. Yeah. And likewise for women. But I think to find that isn't that common. Yeah. And it sounds like you guys hit that from day one kind of thing. Yeah.
I think like I've never had like a direct path in like anything I've wanted to do. Like I've kind of just like fallen into these jobs and then have just been good at them, which is lucky. And I don't really know how that's happened, but I never was like, oh my God, like I've woken up and I'm 18 and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Whereas like Craig did that. Like he went to uni later, like he went to uni to be a physio and was like, I want to be in sports, I want to be in football.
That's his goal.
And I would never ever take that away from someone. Like if they've worked that hard to like actually get their dream job, I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm never going to stop you from doing that. Because I know if it was the other way around and I got offered something amazing, he'd be like, let's do it. Because I went for an interview, like, I think it was like 2 weeks before we found out that he was getting interviewed at Ann Summers for a marketing executive job. And I was like, holy fuck, this is going to be like my dream job. I'm so excited. And I didn't get it. And I was like, as soon as I found out he got the interview, and then a couple of days later I found out that I didn't get it. And I was like, it's a sign, we're going. Like, because he was like, what if you get it? And even if I got it, I would have been like, no, like we're still going. Like we're obviously still going. But it was a definite sign to be like, you're not getting it, hun. You need to go.
So one of the things that I had written down that you spotted on my notepad was a boob job.
Yeah.
I wrote those
it's like a really aggressive blunt note there.
Boob job question mark.
Boob job question mark.
On the last, or the first, one of the first times I met you on a night out, and you told me, well, Ellis was saying that she'd had 3 or 4 boob jobs.
Yeah, Ellis has had loads of boob jobs.
Yeah. But she's very, very happy with her boobs now. Yeah. You just the one?
Yeah, just the one. I just had the one. I don't know why she had so many, because
I don't know.
Because for like, if someone's watching or listening to this, they're going to be like, oh my God, this girl is going to look like Jodie Marsh.
No, I think she got them reduced. I think she got them put on. She wasn't happy with them. She got them again and then got them reduced. I think maybe
they just were like not even or something, maybe. I don't know. I think she's definitely, we've had this full boob conversation before, because when we both realised, we were like, oh my God. Put some, like in Wales, everyone's had a boob job. So it's like, you can just like talk to anyone about it and it's like normal.
Yeah.
But like when I was like younger, I always had bigger boobs, and then I lost loads of weight and they just completely disappeared.
Oh no, you got robbed.
I got fully robbed, absolutely fucked over by my own weight loss.
That's harsh.
It's hot. No, yeah. How harsh is that?
Yeah.
It's horrible because you had it and then it's gone and you're like, oh.
So you know what it's like to have them.
And I was like, that was like all in the space of like 2 years of like.
Were you like a big fan of your boobs?
No, I wasn't. Like, I didn't think they were amazing, but it was just the fact that I was like, oh, okay, well, this is my life now. Like, that's shit.
Yeah.
But like, and I'd always speak to my mum about it, being like, I hate this. Like, what's happening? Because all the women like in my family are like curvy women, and it's amazing.
So how old were you when you lost the boobs?
I think I was like 17, like 16, 17.
Fairly young.
Yeah.
And then the boob job.
I was 21 when I.
What made you decide to get it?
Well, I'd wanted one literally since I was
17.
Yeah, since like they disappeared. I was like, right, I really, really want my boobs then. I'd ask my mum every single year, like, please, please, please. And she's like, you're not oh, sorry. I was like, she's like, you're not finished growing yet. Like, you can't. Like, it's not. Fair it's enough, not healthy.
Yeah. Are you glad she made you wait?
Yeah. 100% glad that she made me wait, because like in that time of like 3 years my body did change.
Yeah.
And like I think it was probably like 6 months before my 21st birthday, and again, like I was I'd always just talk to my mum about anything anyway, so it was just having an open conversation. And my dad like sat me down and was like, your mum has said this, she said you're not happy. And I just had like an open and frank discussion with my dad about like how I felt about my body, and he was like, that makes me sad, like that's not okay.
That must have been quite interesting. Are you as open, as close to your dad than as your mother?
No.
Or was that an unusual conversation to have?
No, like it didn't feel unusual, like at all. Like I was shocked that he brought it up.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel uncomfortable being like, I'm not happy with my body.
And he was like, just go for it.
Yeah, he was like, do it. He was like, we'll pay, and then you pay me back half.
Nice.
So then I paid him back half in like a year and a bit. And
never looked back, happy with them?
Oh my God, no, like it was so nice, because it was like I graduated, I think it was probably like 4 or 5 weeks after I'd had my surgery, so I still had all my bandages on, so I had to wear like a really high neck t-shirt, but I was never getting them done, so I could like get them out. It was just like, I just like, look how I'm dressed now, like this is how I dress all the time.
Yeah.
And like my mum and my dad both came up to me and they're like, you just seem happier. And they're like, you're not doing anything like dramatically different, like you just, I don't know. They were just
how big of a cup size did you change?
It went from, well, you got when you're getting them done, so they don't say, right, you're going to go from this to this. They measure it in grams. So you go into the office and it's so, oh my God, it is literally the scariest thing ever, because you go in the office with a surgeon, and my surgeon was Mr. Khan, and he's like on TV all the time. He's like the best, like he's good. And you go in the office and you have to like take your top off, and he's like talking to you about all the things that are wrong with your boobs, and you're like, oh my God.
Wow.
And like left and cried. So so I don't have like a natural cleavage. There's like a gap here, like of the space of like a finger.
Right.
But like when I had smaller boobs, it was more noticeable. And he was like talking about that. He's like, right, so this is this. And I was like, oh my God. And like but it's his job. Like he's aggressively honest. And
yeah, but he
like
kind of makes women feel bad for a living. A little bit.
No, like not like I think they do that to like really scare you into it, to be like, if this is what you want, like this is your time to decide, because this is your consultation, like this is what's happening. And he just puts implants in your hand and he's like, push them up against your chest, and he was like, that's how they'll sit, like when they heal. And
when you had them up against your chest, did you know that's what you wanted?
I didn't, because I was just like, what the fuck, like this is so weird, like I don't understand, like I don't know what they're gonna look like I'm literally just holding 2 bags of silicone here, like
it's literally 2 bags of silicone that they put them underneath the flesh, underneath the muscle. I
can't remember if I'm over or under. I think I'm over, because I had boob there before. I think you go under if you're completely, because like some women just don't develop like the tissue or anything.
Okay,
I'm just gonna,
that's fine.
I don't know why he's crying. I don't know if he wants to go out, but he's just been out. But I think it goes under if there's like, if they had a chest like yours.
And now does it feel like a normal boob?
Literally looks and feels like a normal boob. Like I'm sorry, I'm getting really worried about him because he's crying. I don't know if he wants. I don't know if he wants to go out.
He's just playing again.
Oh, he's just playing. He's just being an asshole. I don't know, because he cries like this if he wants to go to the toilet, so I don't know if he actually wants to go out, but we've just taken him.
We could go. I think we're going to have to probably wrap it up anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Camera's dying on us, so...
Thanks very much for doing this, Jessie. Did you have
You're
fun?
Very welcome.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was nice. I feel like I just had like a little rant.
A little heart to heart.
Yeah, a little heart to heart.
What we'll normally do is we'll probably do a second episode, and in like 10 episodes time or something like that, and we'll catch up with you and see how living in Newcastle's gone.
And my dog stops growling at me and being a really misbehaving child. I'm so sorry. Ted.
Thanks very much.
She wants to go to the toilet though. That's fine. Lovely end. Right, come here. I think that's why